finally, we're doing it.
Hi, Ricardo. How are you?
I'm good, Lupe. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Well, congratulations on the role.
Thank you.
Selena obviously is an icon now, and you're from Texas. So, what does it mean for you? Is it personal?
It's very personal. I've been doing quite a few interviews lately, and I am from South Texas. I was born in Austin, raised in San Antonio. My father and my father's family is all from Eagle Pass and Del Rio, Texas. So and all parts in between. Selena and I were born the same year, 4 months apart. So when I was graduating high school, she was graduating high school. When I was in high school and attending university at Incarnate Word, I was opening up the San Antonio paper and reading another article about a concert she did or an award she won, and so that story really is part of the framework of my youth, growing up in South Texas and in San Antonio. So I absolutely understand the significance of her legacy, of the family, of the importance of their story, not just to the music industry, but also to our Mexican American community and specifically our South Texas region.
And watching the first episode, I mean, people can really relate. It's not just a story about Selena, but this family who has to struggle financially, and it's so relatable. I almost forgot I was watching a show about Selena.
This is something for me. When I read some of the scripts, I asked. When I had my audition, I was going through my audition process, and I asked them to send me some samples of the writing. And when I read some of the samples, I knew immediately that we had some people that were specifically from South Texas and some people that were specifically Mexican American that were writing. And I was like, finally, we're doing it. We are self-representing, and so but yeah, like I remember reading those scripts, and some of that stuff made me cry because there are things in my life that happened to me as a child with my family that are almost identical with some of those things that happened to them and their struggles early on. So I immediately self-identified.
Yeah, it really speaks to the American dream from the Mexican American side, because and it's done with humor, because obviously you play Selena's dad, Abraham, but they do it with humor because you're ashamed to go in and get food stamps, which all Latino men can relate to, and women. I mean, my mom's too. She's very proud. But they do it with humor, like you send the kids to the store and you leave them the food stamps. Okay, you guys pay.
but that's humor in a situation like that. Humor is deflective, and you're trying to deflect or run away from feelings of shame or fear or guilt or insecurity. A lot of times that's how people utilize humor, as a way to undermine their true feelings. And I think we do that. I think that it's something, it was purposefully written that way, but I think it's also something that is absolutely a construct that's used just in daily life, you know.
And I really like you talk to the kids about being Mexican American and how when you go to Mexico, you're a foreigner basically, which is exactly what we go through, but people don't know that because people in Mexico view us very differently. So I like that whole talk that you had with the kids, right? I mean, it really opens up people's eyes to the struggle that we have as Mexican Americans.
It's that thing of, being Mexican American. It's like, you're not necessarily one and you're not necessarily the other. So you're Mexican, but you're not Mexican enough for the Mexicanos de Mexico, and you're American, but you're not American enough for all the gringos in the United States, and it's something that we live with all the time. It can be painful. And it automatically establishes this kind of adversity, not just with how we work with those worlds outside of us, but also with our self-identification. There's a battle that's going on inside of us on how do we then define ourselves, and how do we then self-identify, and it can create a lot of conflict and confusion.
And And I love the way you portray the dad. You're tough, but you're very loving as well.
You know, it's how I was raised. I've got one of these back home in San Antonio. You know, who's 70 something years old and of the same generation as Abraham Quintanilla, who raised me and who comes over to my house now and spoils his grandchildren, my children. And so there was a lot for me to draw from with just my experiences with my own father, my tios. Yeah.
The first few episodes, you see the young Selena played by Madison Taylor Baez. What a beautiful voice she has. I mean, I'm assuming that's her singing.
Oh my, no, it is. And she was just an absolute delight. All the kids, the three kids, you know, the three young actors were just absolutely amazing. You know, we created this just beautiful world of the younger years. You know, myself and Sadie as the parents. Sadie was an absolute joy to work with. You know, so grounding and just such an honest and beautiful portrayal of Marcela. But that was some of my favorite work to be done. You know, was the stuff that we did that made up that the first episode. Yeah.
Now you have the scripts to inform you, but how much did you talk to Abraham and her sister to kind of get insight into what the family was like, you know, throughout this journey?
You know, I think I would imagine that our producers and our writers had conversations with the Quintanilla family, you know, specifically Suzette, you know, just about to collect stories and information, you know, early on, that then they threaded into these scripts. But in terms of me having any contact with Abraham, I did not. I think that there were plans for them to try and come out and visit a set at some point, but the plans kept getting pushed around, and then COVID hit. So that kind of, you know, that was a big no stamp on anybody visiting because of protocols. But we did get to have a Zoom conversation with Suzette Quintanilla, who's one of our exec producers, and she was just so generous and warm and accommodating. And I'm, you know, me being from South Texas and a Tejano, you know, and knowing this story, I mean, I was, you know, como así, you know, just very like this, but on the inside, I was just kind of giggling, like, I'm talking with Suzette Quintanilla. This is amazing, you know? And she, you know, she told us stories and she allowed us to ask questions, and she was really cool. She was very cool, very supportive.
And, you know, what was it like working with Christian Serratos, who's playing Selena? I'm sure the pressure is on for both of you.
No, you know, I don't think so, and I don't think Christian saw it that way. And the great thing is she knew that she had my support and I had her back. You know, and if there was ever a time when she needed to talk, I was there for her. She was there for me. You know, but our whole cast was that way. You know, and what I'm talking about the five. You know, that played the Quintanillas. So Gabe, Chavira, Noemi Gonzalez, Sadie Lopez, Christian, and myself. You know, we bonded immediately. You know, we knew that this was a story about family, that we were really going to get an intimate look and be able to give an intimate portrayal of the Quintanilla family, how they work together, you know, as a family, but also as a business entity to support the rise of Selena and her career. And we all got on board, you know, and we would talk with each other and spend time with each other, not just on set, but off set. And I think it really made for a beautiful dynamic that we were able to capture and put on screen.
What new things do you think Selena fans can learn from watching this series?
You know, I think the biggest thing, again, like I said, is it's this really intimate portrayal and look into the Quintanilla family, and that this was a family effort and a family struggle, you know, to be able to take care of themselves, to be able to find a place for themselves in society, you know, and to try and find success for themselves, which, you know, that's the universal concept of what the American dream is. You know, I mean, that transcends culture. That's part of, you know, this, you know, the United States' identity. You know, that's something that every family strives for, is that American dream. And we get to see it through the eyes of this Mexican American family. You know, it's really pretty beautiful.
it takes a village, right? For the support, because you had your brother helping you, your
yeah,
neighborhood.
yeah, it takes a village. You got to go do dumpster dives to find cans to make lights, and all kinds of stuff. And it's there's an aspect of it's that thing that my character says within the show. It's like sometimes you have to jump without the parachute. It's you kind of have to have these leaps of faith. And I know that I've done that in my life. On many different given circumstances. And it's that leap of faith of like, I know this is an adverse time for me, and I know that I don't have all the instructions or all the options are not directly in front of me, but I know I just have to go here. And if I go here, hopefully things will work out. Awesome. Well, Lupe, thank you so much for the interview. Thank you for your time, and
No problem.
we appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Ricardo.